Hi, welcome to the Noisy Golfer. This is episode 5, and we're delighted to feature our first junior golfer on the podcast today, following some really good feedback from you so far. So thanks for viewing. And we're delighted to introduce Logan Scherpe with us from Aberystwyth. How are you doing, Logan? You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good. Thank you so much for joining us. From our point of view, it's really good to get a good insight from junior golfers on their journey into golf, their backgrounds. And I know that we've been following each other sort of fairly closely since we sort of launched in October last year. And for those of you that don't know Logan, he's 13 years old, from Aberystwyth, Welsh international, and your home club is Aberystwyth Golf Club. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Fantastic. So just to start off with then, tell us about yourself, how you got into golf, and we'll obviously let our viewers at home know a little bit more about you and your journey.
Okay. My name is Logan, come from Aberystwyth. I'm playing off 1.3 handicap currently.
Wow.
The home course is Aberystwyth, but I also play at Aberystwyth. I started golf playing Fun Day at Aberystwyth. I was 7 years old, and since then I've loved the sport. Started off with target games, little drills, nothing too tough, nothing, just nice simple drills to start off with. And like I said, from there, just played the sport and loved it.
Amazing. So what 1.3 handicap already and you're 13?
Yeah. At the start of the year, I was in 6, and my target to come down to 3, thinking that would be good, because obviously last year COVID didn't help at all. Even this helped. So I'm over the moon of this year. I've smashed my season target. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to next year.
Amazing. So since you've come down from 6, then in what time frame have you come down from 6 to 1.3?
Good question. I'd say it's all across the year. Couple of comps I've played awful. Yeah. 12 over, and my handicap's going up. And then recently I've been playing a couple of minus numbers, which has helped a lot. Yeah. Which I think there's no point heaving pressure on yourself. You don't have to lower handicap. Yeah. It will just come. Yeah, yeah. Next year I may only be off for 0.6, which is still a drop, but may not be as much as I want to. It will just come, and you never want to force dropping handicap. Absolutely. Would you say there's a particular area of your game that you've improved on to get to that point? Because obviously, as you've said, as you get lower the handicap, it's obviously harder to sustain and maintain that to get even further towards scratch. Yeah. What would you say is the major thing that's improved to allow you to get to that? It's definitely my long game. Yeah. My long game improved so much, and I've still got to be honest, say my putting isn't good enough. I still need to work on my putting a lot. I played a competition, Welsh under 14s last week. Yeah. Played 6 over 2 rounds, and I free putted 5 times. Yeah. 6 over is still good over 2 rounds, but those 5 putts cost me a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Well, did you see the golf yesterday evening, the BMW? Yeah. Well, I think that just goes to show, doesn't it? When you look at the two difference in styles between Patrick Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau, obviously Bryson's hitting further. He's arguably more aggressive, but fundamentally that battle was won and lost on the greens. Yeah. Effectively. So even I suppose at any level, it just goes to show the importance of being able to perfect your game on the greens. I think definitely from a young age, you need to work on short game. So it's won or lost by hitting a ball 50 yards further than your opponent. Yeah. It's by making them down the yards. So for Patrick Cantlay, his putting was phenomenal the other day. And DeChambeau just couldn't make the up and downs he needed. Yeah. No, absolutely. So just to sort of, we're coming to the end of summer in the UK then, to sort of describe,
obviously you're a competitive golfer, you're a Welsh international. Just talk us through your diary this summer. What would you say have been your highs, your lows, and your sort of mainly your successes really in your competitions throughout the year?
Over this year, I've pretty much only had 3 main competitions because the rest have been cancelled due to COVID. My first main success was winning my club championship, and I was the youngest to win that competition in 110 years, which was absolutely amazing. And then I went to play the Reed Trophy in England.
Yeah.
First day didn't go to plan, bit of unluckiness. But I managed to finish 22nd, tied 22nd overall with a very strong field of 150 players. So I was extremely happy with that. And then I went to Scotland next after that. Scotland was tough. Didn't have a good first day at all. It was one of those days, didn't play good golf, just forgot about it, moved on. Second day, way better, +2 gross, I was happy. Yeah. It was just a bit of a shame about the first day. And then, like I said last week, I went to the Welsh under-14s. First day, couldn't really putt. And second day, I was -1 gross for front 9.
Yeah.
I was still minus gross until after 15. Then I 3-putted 16, 17, which was a bit gutting, but that's golf. You can't always expect yourself to hold putts from 50 foot. It's happened, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the things that I'm really working on with Isaac at the moment. I mean, Isaac's 8 and he's playing his 3rd Tommy Fleetwood Tour event tomorrow. And we've been spending a lot of time over particularly the last couple of weeks, like off the tee, he's really, really improved and his irons are great. But I think that, one of the things that we're working on is distance control. Like you say, those 40, 50 footers, the difference between leaving yourself a 2 and 3 foot putt versus a 6, 7 and 8 foot putt can over the course of a round be quite big if you're not particularly hitting the right area of the greens. So it just goes to show at any level how important that is. Are there any things that you're doing with regards to putting? Do you have any particular drills that you go through? Are you working with the coach? What would you do in that respect to help yourself improve?
I do work with my coach. I have lessons regularly. I have devices such as a putting mirror to help my stance and arc, like swing of my putt. Going out on the course, getting the feel constantly, that's important. And just overall, you need to keep knocking down. There's no point going out half an hour practice, then playing 18. It's all in good going out on the course, but you also need to work like inside. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Working in the nets, on the range, on the putting green, and chipping green, or even in your own house. It's very important to do that.
Absolutely. So in terms of your regiment then throughout a week, what would, obviously to get to the handicap that you're at and obviously to be playing at the level you're at, you're obviously dedicating yourself. What would a typical week look like when you're able to play as much as possible in terms of how many rounds would you play? What would your practice routines be? Just tell us a bit more about that.
So my coach said that, and I think I agree with him, 4 days of the week should be practice on swing, putting, chipping, and then maybe play 9 holes on top of that. But then for the rest of the 3 days, play 18 holes, your weekly comp and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So practice moreover than on the course is what I'd say. And then school is upcoming Friday. So it would be school, course, then get back home 8-ish.
Yeah.
And then eat and then sleep. And then during the summer holidays, maybe a little bit of free time.
Yeah.
But it's tough to say my diary because it changes a lot.
Yeah.
after each lesson, I get a new plan, new swing to work on. So it's constantly changing, but it's mainly 4 days practice, 3 days on the course.
Interesting. I think that's one of the things that we've spoken to a few coaches about, is when they talk about practicing with purpose as well. Is dedicating and breaking down your game in certain sections. I know that when we did the podcast last week with Norman Marshall, who heads up the Tommy Fleetwood Academy, and he's essentially broken down each part of the game into a series of games. So if you're driving, you're trying to drive into, like, passing through gates. If you're chipping, you're trying to get into a certain zone or hit certain targets out in the range. It's essentially breaking every element of that down and then trying to, best as you can, apply each area of that fundamentally to put it out on a round as well.
Yeah, quality over quantity is what my dad says to me.
Yeah, definitely. So just to talk about your entry into golf then, obviously you've played since you were 7. Do your parents play golf? How did you get into golf originally?
Well, at the moment, my uncle's the only one that plays golf in my family.
Okay.
So I think when I was 5, I went to his house one day and did some putting, but I still played football at that time and forgot about golf. But when I started, my dad then played with me, thinking, oh, Logan's just going to play golf as a side sport to football.
Yeah.
So we went to the range together, me and my dad hit some shots, and then when I went to my first tournament, he gave up. He gave up. Well, yeah. He did a couple of shots now and then, but doesn't do anymore. Just me and my uncle. My uncle's a bit of a bandit though. Plays off 23.
He's probably a good person to have on your team then. Yeah.
My dad's constantly comes to lessons, so he knows about the technical side of golf, helps with my swing. Yeah. But my uncle is more the person who knows what happens on the course. So he's more, he was my caddy for some tournaments.
Yeah.
He helps me to calm down and stuff like that when I hit a bad shot. So it's 2 really good parts of my, 2 really good family members to have on the golfing side.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Because I think that if you look at any successful sportsman, I think this is what, when we were, again, just referring to the conversation we had with Norman Marshall last week, where he was talking about one of his junior golfers, who's a junior world champion up until a couple of weeks ago. And there's a very interesting relationship between the coach and the dad versus the coach and the player. And it's almost like it's that team environment. So, one person might be not necessarily as technical, but can provide support in one area. Whereas when it comes to the fundamentals of, why did you hit a bad shot, or how to sort of harness and hone your swing, it's again, just using somebody else as a different outlet. But fundamentally, all of those things together contribute to somebody being successful. Because it's important. I think one of the things that you've spoken about is that, there's a massive element that goes from the technical side, but it sounds like that you're very familiar with the importance of a sound mental approach as well in your game. Is that a particular area that you find that you work on? And if so, what tips would you give to somebody that's trying to improve, shoot lower scores, and help improve their own game?
I think mentally, golf is all about your head and how you think. Because normally, when I was younger, I would shoot 7 on the hole, let's say.
Yeah.
And that's a triple bogey, perhaps. I would think that's an awful score, then try and force a good score, leading to another bad score.
Yeah.
So my head's all gone, making my round worse. If you ever have a bad hole, just need to forget about it and play every hole as if it's hole 1.
Yeah.
You never ever give up in golf. You could start off with triple and still end up 3 over par.
Yeah.
It's golf. But if you're starting, I would just say never give up. Golf is one of the toughest sports out there. If it was easy, everyone would be playing it. Exactly. Just keep your head down, keep working, and never give up.
Brilliant. No, I mean, that's pretty good advice. Something I think that, again, as a parent, you know, with playing with Isaac, it can sometimes be a challenge, in the respect that, like, we played a couple of days, 3 days ago on a new course where he's just joined, and he was absolutely fantastic. Really, really proud of him. And then the next day, something wasn't quite right. And, you know, one of the things that I'm really trying to enforce is just the importance of the next shot. You know, whatever has happened has happened. The ball is where it is. let's work out a solution as to how to get out of it. And I think that sounds quite simple to process, but again, when you're working with, you know, with somebody so young, it can sometimes be, you know, quite difficult to absorb when they know what they've done. And I think that's something that I'm working with on a sort of a parent and son relationship with Isaac. So it sounds like you've got a really good foundation so far in terms of your understanding of the importance of quality practice, the way that you practice, your mindset as well. In terms of the bigger picture then, what are your own golfing ambitions? I mean, you're obviously already playing at a fantastic level, you know, at such a young age. What are you working towards? Is there a bigger picture in mind?
Yeah, I would love to play for Wales, my home country, and perhaps even get a scholarship to go to America or Spain for college. That would be ideal for me. And I mean, the major dream would to be playing for the Ryder Cup, having a go at the Masters, stuff like that. But I think start off now with the smaller goals, building up as you
No, absolutely. I think again, it's just breaking everything down, isn't it? Just to also mention, because it's really interesting you mentioned college golf there. If you check out one of our other podcasts we did with Harry Butler, Harry Butler Golf, he's a player that's from Essex, has been over to the United States, played in North Carolina and the University of West Florida. So you should check out that as well. You'll get some really good tips on the process to go through that, to play college golf, and also the experience as well, which he paints a really, really clear picture on. So it is well worth checking that out as well. So in terms of your away from that, then what are you interested in outside of golf? Do you play other sports? Are you active in other areas, or is it a singular pursuit from your point of view?
It's definitely a singular pursuit for me. Don't do any other sports. Like I said, I used to play football, used to be a goalkeeper, but don't really do any other sports now. My free time I spend on my family or hop onto the PS4 with my mates. Otherwise, it's just golf, really.
So who do you aspire to be like? Who is your favourite player? I know a lot of people mention like Tiger Woods as the standalone one for obvious reasons, but are there any other players that you particularly look up to in a aspirational light?
Mine's got to be Rory McIlroy. I love his positivity towards the sport. When it's a bad day, he always thinks positively, never negatively. But I also aspire to many other golfers. For example, I love Phil. Phil Mickelson's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, good on him for still being in the PGA. He's love a short game. Cameron Champ, Hovland, many more.
Superb. So I'm going to ask you a question now then. So if of any professional golfer, whose game off the tee would you have? Who would you choose off the tee?
Oh, that's tough. In terms of length, it'd be DeChambeau, but I'd say consistency and length, Cameron Champ.
Cameron Champ, okay. Interesting. What about iron play? Who would you say if you could pick anybody's iron game to choose, who would that be?
Because of his recent performance, either Patrick Cantlay or Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah. See, but what about wedge play?
Definitely Phil Mickelson.
Phil Mickelson all day. Me too. And whose short game would you choose to create the ultimate player?
I think in chipping. I'd say for chipping, it's got to be Phil Mickelson, but putting, oof. Tiger Woods or Nick Faldo.
Yeah, back in the day, I think. Yeah, I can remember that far back. Cause I'm a little bit older than you, but yeah, I know that when I started playing when I was 11, probably 10, 11 when I started playing, and Faldo was just my idol at the time. Because I think there wasn't that much golf on the TV either. Obviously, because there wasn't as many channels. But yeah, certainly when the Open was on, Faldo was somebody that I'd have. Yeah, he was my hero at the time. So pretty good players there. So how's the rest of the year looking for you then, golf-wise? I mean, obviously we're coming towards the end of the summer holidays. There's the return of school. What does the rest of 2021 look like for you from a competitive point of view?
Competitive, not much really. All my major competitions have been over the summer, but I think a couple of club competitions. I played one Saturday. Played -1 gross. So I think it's just going to be maybe Winter League, Saturday comps, and that's about it. Working in the net at home, driving range, and getting lessons from my coach.
Superb. Well, fingers crossed for you. I mean, obviously, I mean, it's amazing that you've been able to get to the, the sort of handicap that you have at such a young age. I mean, that's massively impressive. For those of you watching, thanks so much for tuning in. There is a link here, so you can follow Logan on his social media channels. I think you've got about 7,000 followers on Instagram now, and I know you're quite active on the socials, so you've clearly got a lot of admirers watching you in that respect. So do feel free to give Logan a follow. And if there's any questions, do feel free to comment below and let us know what they are. But for the time being, Logan, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. We certainly look forward to following your journey in the coming months and years. And I'm sure soon enough it won't be too long before you you take that next step into something big in your golfing career.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed.
Thanks so much, Logan. Take care.
You too.